All right. So setting your bias, it's pretty simple, really. We are going to do the procedure real quick, and then I'll send you an email explaining the things that you need to know because it's really too much to put on a videotape. And I might make a mistake in how I present it, so I really don't want to do that. But I'm going to show you what to do. So there's other things to worry about uh, as far as how I'm doing this and why I'm doing this. And we're going to discuss this on email, unless you already understand it. So basically, you're going to get the voltage, your plate voltage. You're going to get that from an area in the amp. I'm going to show you how to do that too in another video because there's another one coming. Um, so the first thing I want you to understand is start with the power off. Uh, let's say you put in new tubes and you don't need a guitar plugged in, but you do need a speaker plugged in, and you need your power cord plugged in. Power cord. Speaker to a load. Speaker, right? Cable here. Make sure your speaker cable or your load is set to where whatever, and you can just use a coin or a screwdriver. And I happen to be on an 8 ohm speaker right now, to a 2x12. And then you can plug in your amplifier, making sure that the switch is off, and I already done that. And we're going to plug that in there. So now we're almost ready, actually. Um, Here we have a meter. I'm going to set it for DC voltage, just like that. It's an auto range. You should have an auto range meter. If you don't, get with me and we'll talk about how to set it. Um, this is the negative probe, and it goes into the black test point. The test point here, black, red, red. Now, the black is ground, and it's ground for both sides. The red is for this tube on this side, and this red one is for this tube on this side. You do not bias this tube. This is just the rectifier tube. These are the preamp tubes. So V1, V2, V3, no bias, just these two, right? Insert your probe into the black. That is your ground. Insert your probe into the red, and that is your idle current for this. Now we're going to turn the power on to the amp, just the power side. I hope this is it. Does it come up? I can't tell because it's backwards. Yeah, okay, so now we're getting some juice here. Now I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, and you can see the tubes lighting up. And then when I throw the standby switch, you're going to see the tube setting come up on here. So while we're waiting for it to warm up, which is an important thing, you got to do that. You got to wait for the tubes to warm up. We are going to open this little guy here. I've already loosened it. You want to use a small wrench and just crack it so that the screw can turn. I don't know if you can see that. I guess you can with a flathead screwdriver. And I've got it turned all the way down right now. So the tubes are not biased. They're going to be very cold. This number is going to be low in the low 20s or mid 20s when we turn on the power. So here we go. Let's turn on the power, see what happens. So we just hit the plates with some juice, and look at that, 17, way too cold. So from our formula, we are going to, I already know what I'm going to set. I'm going to set it at about 42, 42, 43, and then I'm going to change it, pull it out here, and I'm going to check the other side. So let's check the other side and see where that goes. And 16.5, 16.2, 3. Really low. Too cold to play. Just way too cold to play. So we'll go ahead and take our screwdriver and turn up this pot slowly and watch the numbers rise. So there's 20, 25. Let it catch up because we're dealing with real electrons. And I want to go up to about 42. 42. Let's go 43. What the hell? We can actually go up to 47 according to the formula. I'm going to back it off. Let's go to 42. And I'm just touching, just tapping. I know you can hardly see that, right? And there's no point to really try to get it to exact, but I don't know why I like to do that. Now we switch. And look at that. 41.1. Do I adjust? No. I don't need to do that. But I got a lot of room, but I can, so I can. So I'll go ahead and turn this one up to 42. But what happens is, see, a very little twist, just putting slight pressure on the screw. So that one's up to 42. Let's check the other. Now the other one's going to be a little bit higher than it was before. .42. Wow, match set of tubes. That makes me really happy, huh? So 42.4. 42. Wow. So if your tubes, when you get them and they're that close, that's a good set. That's a good match. If you're 5 off or more, then it's not a good match. At least you know now that the tubes are matched. If you have a tube that is so far off, like it's, let's say this one was 48 and this one was 45, that's still okay. If this one's 52 and this one's 42, then you're 10 off, and that's not a good match. You have to actually bring this one down to match, to the highest that it could go, and then this one will be too low. So you don't want to do that, and that's why we do this test point thing, so that we can see that our tubes are matched or not. And as you see how we lose some as it warms up. See how it's dropping? You should let it sit for a little while, and you'll lose some until you lock this screw down. So when you're done anyway, you switch back and forth. I could have put a switch in here to go back and forth, but yeah, the hotter it gets, that lower that number will go until it evens out. It'll even out, and then it'll be about the same. You'll never get them exactly matched. It's not possible. It's just impossible to do that. So one's going to run at 43, and the other one's going to run at 42.5, and I couldn't ask for a better match. That's awesome. I wish I had a mismatch set of tubes so I could show you what that looks like. It's really pretty simple though. But if you had a tube that was way off, like I said, 10 and 5, then you'd have to bring one down so you wouldn't burn it out, and then the other one will be too cold. And vice versa too. If one's way too cold, you have to bring the other one up. You'll never get them to match because they'll be uneven. So that's it. That's how you bias this thing. It's pretty easy. Then when you're happy, you lock down. I don't have a wrench that small, so I'm being the brute here, and then I'm just gonna lock that down just enough so you don't move that screw. You just want to just tap it. Do not reef on it. There's no need to do that. Just enough so that you don't get any movement here when, accidental movement. That's good enough. Okay? You pull these two out. Turn off your amplifier via standby. And power. And then let it drain out. And then that's good to go. The next video I'm going to do, which is going to be right after this one because I hate to edit, I'm going to show you how to drain the caps. And then I'm going to show you how to get your plate voltage so that you can do the math on this thing. Also, one quick thing, when you turn this amplifier over to work on it, if you got to turn it over, I want you to note that the tubes are taller than these transformers. So if you have to flip this chassis over, you're going to put weight on the tubes. So never turn the chassis over when the tubes are in the socket. You've got to pull them out, and right now these are hot. Be careful of the rectifier tube. It's probably safer to just pull it out. In fact, if you're going to work on anything, pull out all the tubes. Really, it's a better policy. You also have, while I'm at it, you got these guys here, and they just go on. They go on somehow, I promise. There you go. Like that. But they're flimsy. They're actually pretty good. They're the better ones that I've seen out there. But they're still, you'll crush them you're not careful with them anyway, because they're just really thin aluminum. But anyway, we're going to take out the tubes. I'm going to flip the amp over, and then I'm going to show you some things about getting some measurements and how to drain the caps. These caps will hurt you, and the ones inside if you're not careful. Okay? Next video.